And here's our TSN Racing analyst, Tim Hauraney. Max Verstappen ties Ayrton Senna with his 41st career win. Tim, obviously a ways off Lewis Hamilton's 103 wins. Not asking if he'll catch that, but is he approaching Mount Rushmore status?
I mean, Jay, one of the things when you say, like, Ayrton Senna, I mean, as us drivers know, he is one of the greatest drivers of all time. And considering the generation, even when he was racing, and then you look at the safety aspects of things at the same time and what those drivers were able to do, and a driver like Senna, it's not lost on Max Verstappen what he did at the Canadian Grand Prix today. He was absolutely flawless. I think the car can only keep getting faster, but I think one of the interesting things, and I said this earlier, it's, you know, when can Red Bull start working on next year's car? So we have this development race that's already started to happen, and, you know, Red Bull has such a strong advantage now that, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they start working on their 2024 car in the coming weeks, which is a scary thing for a lot of these other teams here on the grid, Jay.
And Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez finished 6th. On the plus side, he clawed back 6 places. On a bad note, he finished behind the Ferraris. So was it a good weekend or a bad weekend for Perez?
You know, I think it was a difficult weekend for him for sure. I mean, the last few races have been quite a struggle for him. And I think also the car is starting to go away from him. And what I mean by that, Jay, is that the developments that Red Bull start to bring to the chassis start to favor the lead driver, who at this point is Max Verstappen. And I think for a driver like Sergio Perez, it's going to be up to him to figure out how to adapt and make these different upgrades start working in his favor. And I think for him, he's going to have to start doing that soon. I mean, he has a car, Jay, that should be finishing P2, P3, and I'm not too sure how much longer Red Bull is going to sit back and just watch him kind of struggle along here.
Lance Stroll started in 16th, but he gets points in the end, finishes 9th. Best word to describe his weekend?
Roller coaster, for sure. I mean, for Lance, it's tough when you're coming into your home Grand Prix. There is so much pressure, and then on top of that, there's so much off-track activation and activities that a lot of these drivers have to do when they go to their home Grand Prix. I think for Lance, you know, getting out of qualifying where he did and then getting the penalty as well, I don't know if he thought that points were on the table for him here on Sunday, but once he pitted the second time and slapped on those hard tires, I thought it was over for him, in all honesty. I really didn't think he was going to be able to claw his way back. He was just too far back. But I think him just digging in and figuring it out and coming away with some points, I mean, for him, I think he's got to be happy with that, Jay.
Next up on the schedule, the Austrian Grand Prix in a couple of weeks. Tim, thank you for this.
Thanks very much for having me, Jay. Really appreciate it.